Brian Gross. (163.4 miles per hour). This isn't the top speed of the fastest production Porsche on the market, the cruising speed of an F-14 Tomcat, or the powerful surge of a locomotive firing on all cylinders. 163.4 miles per hour is the world record for the fastest tennis serve of all time, held by Sam Groth of Australia during the 2012 ATP Challenge Tournament. In the game of tennis, the serve is not the only shot one must master, but many would consider it the most important. Today, I will be discussing the proper technique for successfully hitting the tennis serve. Although serving is only a small aspect of the sport, it holds great importance. Without an effective serve, a player will not be very competitive. For the past 13 years, I have spent countless hours practicing the proper technique for whaling the perfect serve over the net towards my opponents. 4 years of high school tennis, along with dozens of tennis camps and recreational leagues, have honed my mastery of this skill. Although difficult, anyone with proper drive and instruction can learn to serve a tennis ball. In order to hit an effective tennis serve, one must focus on three main things: ball toss, contact, and follow-through. First, I will be discussing the importance of ball toss in hitting an effective tennis serve. Perhaps one of the most important and underappreciated aspects of the tennis serve is the ball toss. Having a toss that is too far to the right, left, or in front of the player, or with inappropriate height, will undoubtedly result in an error. A proper ball toss should be approximately a shoulder distance to the left of a right-handed player, or a shoulder distance to the right of a left-handed player. Additionally, the toss should be approximately 3/4 the height of the server. If the toss is lower or higher than this point, it is likely the server will experience timing issues, disrupting the flow of their serve. For a proper ball toss, it is prudent to remember the importance of ball height and the distance from the server. In addition to the ball toss, having a proper contact phase is also important while serving a tennis ball. Second, I will be discussing the contact phase of an effective tennis serve. Following the ball toss, the contact phase occurs when the server strikes the ball. Although it may sound simplistic, this contact phase can be quite difficult. Composed of the wind-up and the strike, the contact phase will either make or break a tennis serve. The wind-up is the period following the ball toss, where the server brings their racket from its initial position up to the contact point to meet the ball as it begins to fall from its toss. Many different wind-up approaches can be taken by the server, but to deliver the most powerful blow, one should use what is known as the Power C method. As the name implies, the Power C method requires the server to make a letter C motion with their racket-bearing arm, first going back, and then up, and then to the contact point. When the server reaches the contact point, they enter the second part of the contact phase, strike. A serve must be hit with the top during strike to increase its likelihood of entering the service box. Topspin, also called front spin, is a downward force that causes the ball to drop due to its interaction with the air. Although easily defined, imparting topspin can be difficult to master. According to Hugh Brody of the British Journal of Sports Medicine, many players hit their serve when the ball they have tossed up reaches its peak. Hitting the ball at this point will do little to impart topspin. Brody continues to say, however, if instead the player tosses the ball up 8 inches above the eventual impact point and hits the ball as it is falling, topspin is automatically added to the ball, with no additional effort by the server. If a player uses an appropriate wind-up motion followed by effective contact, imparting topspin, their chances of hitting an effective serve are much greater. Now that the player has made contact with the ball, the serve is over, right? Wrong. Although many amateurs would consider contact to be the final phase of the serving motion, it is followed by an essential part, the follow-through. Third, I will discuss the follow-through phase of an effective tennis serve. Often overlooked, the follow-through phase of a tennis serve is just as important as the contact phase and ball toss. As explained by Will Hamilton, an ATP tennis professional, the follow-through is simply a continuation of the serving motion. The follow-through phase is the point after the contact where the player continues the power C motion they have started and eventually begins to decelerate this motion. Many beginner players often seem to reach the contact point of the serve and then cease all motion. This will do little to increase the power of the spin or the serve. By continuing the serving motion from contact points toward the ground and along the opposing side of the player, a more effective serve will be produced. Today, I have discussed the proper technique for successfully hitting the tennis serve through proper ball toss, contact phase, and follow-through. Now, you know what it takes to serve like Sam Groth. If you ever find yourself in a situation requiring you to produce an effective tennis serve, you can choose whether or not to apply this information. Although serving is only a small part of the sport of tennis, a 163.4 mile per hour ball hurling at your opponent will have a big impact.